South Florida has a long history of agriculture. Native Americans were the first to occupy this area and started to farm and hunt the land long before Spanish settlers arrived. Ponce de Leon landed on the peninsula of Florida in 1513, and Spanish settlers started to grow crops and raise cattle. While Florida is best known for its citrus crops, the state is also a top producer of sugarcane, and cattle ranching has been prominent since the 1500s. The Everglades and surrounding areas had very fertile lands. This led to many drainage projects to dry up the natural wetlands to create agricultural lands. In 1948, this led to the establishment of the 480,000-acre Everglades agricultural area, and in 1961, when Cuba stopped exporting sugar to the United States, a boom in the sugarcane industry led to the development of large plantations, and the area grew to 700,000 acres, with the vast majority of the area used for farming sugarcane. Farming in South Florida has changed tremendously over the past century, and as the scale of farming increased, so did the potential negative impacts to Florida watersheds, including the Everglades. Fertilizer and manure runoff are large contributors to agricultural nutrient sources in South Florida watersheds. Since 1960, the global use of inorganic synthetic nitrogen and phosphorus fertilizers have increased by more than 700% and are often applied in excess of crop needs. Excess nutrients are lost to surface runoff and to the atmosphere through the volatilization of nitrogen into ammonia. A portion of the volatilized ammonia is redeposited in waterways through precipitation, with phosphorus generally lost through soil erosion from agricultural lands. Over the last century, the method and intensity of raising livestock has also contributed to a sharp increase in nutrient levels. More production is occurring further away from feedstocks, often leading to an oversupply of manure, which is often over-applied to crops, further exacerbating nutrient runoff. The Florida Department of Agriculture shows that as of January 2020, dairy and beef cattle total nearly 2.5 million head. Legacy phosphorus from the Lake Okeechobee watershed, located just north of the Everglades, contributes significantly to the total phosphorus loads. A research study published in 2021 showed that agricultural legacy phosphorus is responsible for 61 to 65% of existing phosphorus loads from the Lake Okeechobee watershed, and when combined with loads from inorganic fertilizer application, represents a staggering 79% of the total phosphorus contributions to the Lake Okeechobee watershed, and has a major impact on the downstream Everglades. Phosphorus and nitrogen are mineral nutrients essential for life, with phosphorus being more limited in nature. Oxidized inorganic species of phosphorus and nitrogen have been used in intensified agriculture and urban development. Currently, there are no cost-effective strategies to control and reduce phosphorus on a huge scale, which is particularly desirable for the Everglades. This diagram shows how nutrient loading can cause hypoxia due to low dissolved oxygen, resulting in species migration and increased mortality rates in our watersheds. Since the incursion of intensive agriculture practices in Florida, over-enrichment of natural waters by nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen have emerged as one of the leading causes of watershed deterioration and water quality impairment. Tropical and subtropical regions, particularly in the United States and Western Europe, are highly susceptible to watershed eutrophication, largely influenced by intensive agricultural practices and aggressive urbanization. Note that Florida and the eastern coast are among the most highly impacted zones on a global scale. The long-term implication of increased nutrient fluxes in our watersheds is not entirely known or understood. However, two of the most acute and commonly recognized systems of eutrophication are harmful algal blooms and hypoxia. Hypoxia is considered to be the most severe symptom of eutrophication, and it has increased dramatically over the past 50 years. It is caused when algae and other organisms die, sink to the bottom, and are decomposed by bacteria using the available dissolved oxygen. The limitation of oxygen replacement from near-surface waters contributes to a hypoxic or dead zone, which results in aquatic organism mortality. Sawgrass has historically dominated the Everglades, as it thrives under the low phosphorus conditions historically typical of water being sent to the area. Increased phosphorus has allowed the native cattail to become invasive, causing habitat issues for native animal species. The uniqueness of the Everglades, as well as the economic importance from tourism, was recognized in 1947 when 1.5 million acres of the Everglades was established as the Everglades National Park. The importance of improving water quality to protect this unique ecosystem was seen again when, in 1994, the Everglades Forever Act was passed and required the Everglades agricultural area to reduce phosphorus loads by 25% relative to historic levels. A mandatory best management practices program was implemented on the Everglades agricultural area farms to reduce phosphorus loads from drainage waters that enter the Everglades ecosystem. Best management practices, or BMPs, are a series of practical and cost-effective actions that agriculture producers can take to benefit water quality and water conservation while maintaining or even enhancing agricultural production. The BMPs utilized by the Everglades agricultural area are broken down into four main categories: nutrient control practices, water management practices, particulate matter and sediment control, and pasture management. Nutrient control practices include soil tests for phosphorus to optimize fertilizer use and applying fertilizer in a banded manner to specific locations rather than broadcasting fertilizer over the entire field. These BMPs reduce the amount of fertilizer used by up to 66% and avoid losses of fertilizer into ditches and canals. Water management practices vary from farm to farm and focus on minimizing the amount of water being discharged off farms. They involve recirculating water for irrigation, detaining water until discharge requirements are met, or retaining water until it is lost to percolation or evapotranspiration. Proper water management decisions helps reduce phosphorus loads from water being discharged off farms. Particulate and sediment control are of great importance because studies have shown that particulate phosphorus makes up a significant portion of the total phosphorus load from farm discharges, up to 70% in some cases. These BMPs involve the use of sediment sumps and traps, along with regular ditch and canal cleaning, where nutrient-rich sediments are recycled back onto the farm fields. Particulate and sediment control BMPs also include several practices for preventing soil from eroding into ditches and canals. These include field leveling, the use of cover crops in the off-season, constructing ditch and canal berms, and stabilizing ditch and canal banks with vegetation. Pasture management BMPs include exclusionary fencing to keep cattle and their waste from entering aquatic systems, cross-fencing pastures to properly manage grazing rotations, providing cattle with reduced phosphorus feed, and properly locating watering holes and feeding sites. BMPs also include a water quality program to monitor farm discharge waters for flow volume and phosphorus concentration. The implementation of BMPs in the Everglades agricultural area have been very effective and have reduced total phosphorus loads by 40%. While these BMPs focus on phosphorus reduction, studies have shown that they are just as effective at reducing nitrogen loads. While BMP programs have allowed Florida to balance the needs of the natural environment with the needs of this agricultural area, further treatment for phosphorus is still needed before this water can be sent to the Everglades ecosystem. Stormwater treatment areas, or STAs, are constructed wetlands that use the green technology of plants to filter and store phosphorus. The STAs treating water discharged from the Everglades agricultural area are the largest in the world. They are designed to remove phosphorus using wetland plants that remove dissolved phosphorus through their roots as a needed nutrient for growth, and filter out particulate phosphorus suspended in the water. STAs are a crucial component in reducing phosphorus levels in water discharged to the Everglades. As water enters an STA, it moves through a series of treatment cells and gets cleaner at each stage. The first cell is predominated by emergent aquatic vegetation, such as cattails, bulrush, and spikerush, that thrive on high concentrations of phosphorus. The next cell contains floating and submerged aquatic vegetation, such as southern naiad, hydrilla, and chara. The final cell has a rich bed of periphyton, including algae and bacteria. The water leaving this cell and flowing to the Everglades has a level of phosphorus at or below 10 parts per billion. The 5 STAs that treat discharge water from the Everglades agricultural area currently encompass 62,000 acres of treatment area, and since 1994 have treated almost 8 trillion gallons of water. Since 1996, BMPs have prevented over 4,000 metric tons of phosphorus from leaving the Everglades agricultural area basin, and STAs have prevented over 3,000 metric tons of phosphorus from entering the Everglades. Together, their average annual total phosphorus reduction is almost 60%. Currently under construction are flow equalization basins, or FEBs. These FEBs will increase water storage by 116,000 acre-feet. They will hold excess storm water and allow water managers to gradually release it into STAs and help maintain desired water levels in the STAs to optimize phosphorus removal. BMPs and STAs both play a critical role in the water quality plan for restoration efforts. BMPs are important for limiting the agricultural sector's impact on freshwater resources, and STAs treat water to achieve the ultra-low phosphorus levels necessary for the Everglades ecosystem. To date, the state of Florida has invested over $2.5 billion toward improving water quality in the Everglades. While BMPs and STAs are only a part of this investment, they are vital to ensuring a steady supply of clean water for this unique ecosystem.